Hello, everyone, and welcome to the finals edition of the Village Former SEQFC preview show. My name is Darren Dutton, and oh boy, have we got some guests tonight. There's finals happening all over the place. We try and get as many of them in as we could, and we'll have a chat about all the finals that are coming up. Now, we've got some guests that are just coming, they're not quite with us yet. So before we get to the NPL, we're going to switch on over to the FTPL 1. And there was a great escape on the final day. And we've got Claude Capelli, who's coach of the Southside Eagles. He's with us. G'day, Claude.
Hi, mate. How are you?
Good. Now, we had written you off a month ago. Southside Eagles were definitely going down, and somehow we've escaped and at Caboolture's expense.
Yeah, well, I think everybody had written us off, really. I think I was probably one of the few people in the world that gave us a chance, but we needed lots of things to go our way. And as it panned out, we got football gods on our side for once this year, and it all worked out. But yeah, don't want to go through that again.
What was the maths, Claude? What needed to happen?
The maths was with three games to go, we needed to win 3 games, and needed to get 0 points. We were playing Caboolture in the second last round, so we could control that. Surface had them in the third last game, so surface the way they've been playing, you'd think they'd win that. And it got down to the last game of the season, and the last game was against Mitchelton, and Mitchie were already relegated. Not a lot to play for other than pride, but they certainly played with their hearts on the weekend and got the result we needed. It was 2-2 at full time when we finished. We won 2-2, and it was quite an atmosphere in the half when they got the third, and then
Yeah, right. Hey, Josh McKee, can I get you to just mute yourself at the moment, please? It sounds like you've got Flipper in the background who's jumping in for a chat. Thanks, mate. Good stuff. All right, so you're still in the FQPL 1 next season, Claude. The club must be absolutely thrilled given the circumstances.
Yeah, they're very happy. I mean, we'd sort of been planning behind the scenes to FQPL 2 next year, possibly. We're realistic about the challenge that was ahead of us in those last 3 games, and I've never been involved with a relegation battle, and it was hard to explain the feeling when we survived. It was just relief. You could say it was relief that we somehow managed to pull it off. But we had to do our bit. We had to win 3 games, and we did that. So we gave ourselves a chance, and that's as it turned out. The things that sort of panned out from there.
Is it the most stressful season you've had as a coach?
100%. Definitely the most stressful season. Definitely.
What sort of toll has it taken on you?
Oh, the way the season panned out, we lost a lot of games by 1 goal, lost a lot of games late. So we weren't getting the rub of the green. You wanted a bit of luck here or there, and it just wasn't happening. And I think 7 games we lost after 90 minutes by 1 goal. So,
wow.
And you try and plan for that, but penalties. We found new ways to lose games. So it was frustrating. It was very stressful, but credit to the boys. They kept at it. They never lost hope. They kept believing like me, but the light almost went out, but we just kept hopeful that we could bring it down to the last day. And on the last day, anything's possible.
Yeah, for sure. So take us through the semi-finals now. Who do you like? Who do you fancy to go all the way? Has Surface Paradise got this in the bag?
Yeah, I would have thought so. I mean, I think they're clearly they've been the best team all year. Very good footballing team. Their front 3 have scored 40 goals between them. So that's more than most teams have scored this year. So they're going to be hard to contain. Play a very good brand of football. Alex is a very good coach. They've got some good experienced players, and I really can't go past them to win. I think they're undefeated. They've won their last 6 or 7 in a row, so they'll be very hard to beat.
And what have you made of Wolves' season? They've had a brilliant year. Mark Wilson's done a fantastic coaching job, and
I know he's got the boot. I know it's an odd one, isn't it? But he has done a good job, and don't forget they went up last year as well. So he's done back to back. It's surprising that he's getting the boot, but they've been good. They've certainly got results, which is what's mattered. And even their last 3 or 4 games have all been 1-0 results. So they certainly found a way to get results. And credit to them. They beat us last time we played them again. Another game we lost 2-1. The 93rd minute goal they scored against us. So they never give up. They're a good team, and that they deserve their promotion. I think they deserve their promotion spot.
And Logan and Strikers, do you fancy any of them making a dent in the finals?
Logan the results haven't been great the last few weeks. They just beat McKee. They got flogged a few weeks ago by Thunder as well, 5-1. Also against Surfers 3-0 on the weekend. So I can't see them. And Strikers, you never know, but their form's have been up and down as well. So I just can't go past Surfers to take it out.
Yeah, fair enough. Good stuff. All right, Claude, we're racing through everything tonight, so thank you very much for your time.
Thanks.
We'll bring Lliam into the show now that he's logged in. G'day, Lliam.
Hey, how are you, fellas? Sorry about that. Zoom's doing an update right in the middle of turning the computer on. How are we? Good? Are we all good? It's good.
Mate, let's have a quick chat about the MPL, and the final 6 is now down to the final 4.
Yes. The controversial final 6.
Yes, so we've got the prelim. We've got Jets up against Brisbane City.
Yep.
Who do you like there, mate?
Look, I think Brisbane City have got something to prove. They're certainly on a roll, aren't they? So I'm going to tip Brisbane City with that one.
And Gold Coast Knights up against Peninsula Power, who have just come
I
from the clouds.
I think Knights would be too good. I think Power have they've done remarkably well from where they were at the start of the season. They were battling out with relegation with Olympic and Easts, and they were in all sorts, weren't they? And now look at them. They could potentially be in the grand final. So it's been a fantastic comeback. But I think Knights will be too good.
And a quick word from you on the great escape last weekend from Southside Eagles.
Oh, and the FQPL 1. Look, again, they were bottom of the table for many weeks. I think, didn't they have to go on a winning streak the last 3-4 games or something to try and get some points, and they did it. And good on them. I mean, it's anytime you see a club like that battling it out at the bottom of the table and they just pull something out of the fire at the last minute. And unfortunately, that means that the Caboolture go down. Caboolture worked very hard under TK to get up. And of course, and that all comes undone. And it's going to be very hard for him to get back. I think it's that the FQPL 2 is going to be another hard league to get out of next year.
Yeah. Where there's finance, there's always hope, though. So
I don't know. Do they have that finance anymore? I don't know.
They've got the sports club behind them, so I'm sure they'll be fine. I'm sure they'll find a way.
Yep.
All right, let's talk MPL women. We haven't talked about that much this season. Anthony Costa, I know that you're in a league or two below. But I'll bring you in because I'm sure you know absolutely everything about everything to do with women's football, don't you?
I like to follow it. I don't know about knowing everything, that's for sure.
What have you made of the MPL women's season? It's look, I don't think it's no surprise that Lions are where they are, but I think we've got to pay East a lot of credit for coming as close as they have, yeah?
Yeah, look, I haven't followed the MPL as closely this year, but yeah, look, I think from what I've seen, it's been a pretty strong competition. Lions are obviously a fantastic team, but I think it's good for the competition that it's not as clear as what it maybe has been in previous years. East are a good club. They've obviously got a pretty good side, and they've done a great job to get to where they are, but also credit to Power, who, they beat Lions as well, and they were within touching distance of second. So some pretty strong teams there, and even clubs like Mitchelton who didn't make the top 4. You look at the caliber of players that they have in their squad. So I think overall it's a pretty strong competition.
Can you see Gold Coast getting an upset against Lions in the semi this weekend?
Oh yeah, I think so. Finals football, anything can happen. It's now knockout, so it doesn't matter where you finish on the ladder. Gold Coast have pushed Lions every game this year, and when it comes to finals football, it's whoever's better on the day, or even the luckiest. Sometimes it's not always about who's better on the day. So I think Lions are deserving premiers, and I don't think winning or losing a semi-final is going to really make much difference to their season. But now that it's in knockout football, anything can happen. But look, I think Lions will go into that game favourites, but you never know with Gold Coast. They're a good side, and upsets could happen.
Really tough one to predict is Eastern Suburbs up against Peninsula Power in the other semi.
Yeah, that's going to be a great game. Both those sides finished pretty close to each other at the end of the season, and they both play some really good football as well. So I'll certainly be keeping a close eye on that game. Flip a coin for me. Could go either way.
Yeah, good stuff. We'll come back to you shortly, Anthony, as we progress through the leagues. All right, now we'll go to FQPL South Coast competitions, and we'll bring in it's Craig Dutton, isn't it?
It is Darren. Yeah.
It is. It is one of the few names I didn't write down tonight. Thank you for joining us, Craig. You are, of course, the coach of Palm Beach FQPL 3 team, and it's going to be a massive weekend for the Palmies at Croatian Sports Centre. You're in the under-23s, you're in the FQPL 4, and you're also in the FQPL 3 grand finals.
Yeah, I'm not sure too many clubs have achieved that in my lifetime that I can remember anyway. But so the way it looks, it's going to be one hell of a day for the Palm Beach supporters. So hopefully we can bring trophies.
And fans going to be on their best behaviour, aren't they?
Our fans are always on their best behaviour.
That's what we want to hear. That's what we want to hear. Now, you're up against Robina, who've just been goal-scoring machines this season. How are you going to blunt them?
Yeah, it's an interesting one. I think it's a secret of just the recruitment drive that they went on at the start of the season. They do have some firepower there, but look, we played them twice, and both games have ended with a difference of one goal. They beat us 1-0 at home and then 5-4 in the reverse fixture. So I think we're more than a match in this game. I don't think any team has held out like any concerns for us this year. We've obviously been a new season with a lot of new players and that have just stepped up from the under-23s and a few recruits along the way. But I think they've acquitted themselves well, and they've proven that they can match it with the best of them.
Looking at this game, I mean, you've come from fourth place, right?
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah.
So obviously you've missed out on the promotion place. It's got to be your number one agenda item next season, given that you're effectively your reserves and your under-23s have also had successful seasons.
Yeah, look, it's no secret that we went for a bit of upheaval at the start of the year. You obviously know Brett quite well, and they decided to go into a different path. And so players left, and it's been a rebuilding year, and not many people gave us much chance of being fourth, let alone reaching the grand final. And so, there's nothing better than proving people wrong. But you're right in saying that next year would be a goal of ours is to try and succeed in getting promotion. That's the idea of having a pyramid system, isn't it? That if you're not striving for promotion, then there's not much playing, really. That's the way I see it anyway.
Yeah, and you've got to go into the game with a lot of confidence, having knocked over Southport last weekend. Yeah,
it's form's a strange thing, isn't it? Up until the back end of the season, we actually only lost one game, and that was in the second last game of the season. So when we drew with Southport a few weeks back, we were pretty confident of going to Southport and winning the game. So the boys acquitted themselves well and got the result. And I guess we look forward to this weekend because of that.
Yeah, good stuff. So it should be a fabulous day there. I'll see if I can just bring up the yes. In the FQPL 3 women, we've got Gold Coast Knights up against Musgrave. Oh, I hope Musgrave bring a bus, right?
Oh, if you was a betting man, or you put your house on Knights, wouldn't you?
You certainly would. You certainly would. I think out of all the grand finals this weekend, that match is going to have the shortest odds.
Yeah.
Definitely. Mate, a quick shout out for the FQPL 4, the up against Ormo in that game.
Yeah, look, very similar. I think they snuck into the top 4. It's a new team as well, and so they've worked towards that all season. And I think that Drew Finnegan, the coach there, he's obviously a player coach. He's got the boys firing at the right time, and I think obviously I know Nathan Mulhern well, known him for many years at Ormo. So look, it's going to be a good game, I think, for the QPL 4 stand. Both teams are going to want to play football, and yeah, it should make for an interesting watch. But back in Palmy all the way on that one.
I'm sure you will be. Could be an amazing weekend for the Sharks. Good stuff,
Yeah.
Craig. Thank you very much for your time. I've got so many more questions for you, but we might have to talk about that off camera at the end of the show. Let's get to the FQPL 3 Sunshine Coast men. Let's bring in Brad Lloyd. Brad, he's the final specialist. Last year, he came from 4th place last season, didn't you?
Yeah, we were second last year, but we have come from 4th before. So, yeah, look, it's been good over the last couple of years. We have played finals football for quite a lot. So, but you got to get there first. So it's a tough season to get into that Final 4.
That's it.
Anything can happen from there.
And you've got a preliminary final up against Caloundra FC, one of the few competitions that's actually having a preliminary. For the right to take on Noosa, who had to be an upset last weekend, right? With Noosa beating Caloundra?
Yeah, I'd say most people would think it was an upset, but being close to the competition and seeing how close the competition actually has been, it's yeah, look, it wasn't. I wasn't surprised, that's for sure. So Noosa are a really good football side, and they've got both their teams in the grand final now. So they're FQPL 3 and they're 23. So they both won on the weekend, so they're straight through. And Caloundra have been a good side all year. It's it was a shame that they didn't go straight through, but that's football and that's finals football.
Exactly. So what's your keys to success this weekend, mate?
Look, I think in the past, like I've had some pretty good sides I've coached in the past with really good players and a lot of experience. But this year we've, like a lot of the other guys on here that I've been listening to, there's a bit of rebuilding going on. So, yeah, we lost quite a few players from our grand final side last year, and we've had to bring in under 23s, and we've got a lot of youth and not much experience. So, we've relied on that, and in the past we've relied on the experience, but it's refreshing to see the youth. The young guys go in there with with no expectations and sort of free football, free minds. So that's what we've relied on this year. So it's been, hopefully it continues.
I was just gonna ask you about what's your secret to your final success, but mate, you've been doing it even when you were a player as well with the Sunny Coast Fire, haven't you?
Yeah, no, I've never been with the Fire, but it's no, been at Kawana the whole time. But it's I think it's just just a player at Kawana as well. So yeah, no, never been with the Fire.
There you go. Sorry,
yeah,
I had
that's all right.
I had you in 5 straight grand finals from 2005 to 2010, Brad.
No, well, we've been in grand finals in the local level, so it's look, there's no secret to the success. I don't think. I think there's some clubs out there that value the premiership, and some clubs that just sort of roll with what we've got, and what we've got is grand final system. So we haven't had the promotion, the relegation beforehand, so it's always been about the grand final. So it's about timing your run and making sure that the boys are in the finest form when it comes to the end of the season.
Sure. Now, a quick chat about the women there. So Maroochydore qualified for the grand final last weekend, beating BG's. BG's take on Noosa in that competition. You got a prediction there, Brad?
I think BG's will be too strong. They've been a good side over the last couple of years, and it was a tight tussle at the top for those two sides. Maroochydore got pipped at the post right on the last day, so they probably had a bit of a point to prove going into this first semi-final. But yeah, I think BG's will be too strong for Noosa. Noosa have done really well this year, so they're playing in a preliminary final in the women, and they've got both their men's sides into the grand final, so they're a strong club, and they're proving it.
Yeah. How are you finding this year with the Maroochydore men's team getting promoted? Has there been a vacuum in the league, or is everything still held tight, you think?
Well, obviously, we've now got, we had Maroochydore in getting promoted. Then you've got the Fire and you've got the Wanderers. So it does take a lot of players out of the local league, and that point's proven with us. So some games there we've had 18-year-olds playing in the first team. So it's become a league a bit like that. Caloundra still had their experienced players, and they won the league. But I think the league itself going to 9 teams was a bit disappointing because we only played the 16 games. We only played the 2 rounds, so which is a bit of a shame. There could have been a lot more football played. It seemed to be every second week we having a week off, and 2 and 3 weeks at a time. And one club had 5 weeks off at one stage there. So it's been a bit disappointing from that respect. But the league's close. The competition's close. So, but yeah, we welcome Maroochydore back next year.
Yeah, it's been a fascinating couple of leagues to watch, the men's and women's on the sunny coast. Good stuff,
definitely.
Brad. Thank you very much for your time. Now we've got Danny G with us, who's going to talk to us about the FQPL 2 men's grand final. Danny is, of course, the coach of St. George Willawong, and they are taking on Magic United. G'day, Danny.
G'day, Darren and everyone. Thanks for having us.
Oh, there you go. Now you're looking your best. You got your lighting all sorted now.
Trying to get a bit of ambience here, Darren, leading into the weekend. So, yes.
Love it. Now, we got you on at the beginning of the year, and things were looking fantastic. And to be fair, things did stay pretty strong for the rest of the season. But just that one club just managed to sneak ahead of you and never let it go with Broadbeach.
Yeah, they were no doubt the standout team in this competition pretty much from day one, and obviously won the first 19 games. And their last win, coincidentally, was against us in that round. And then obviously that they got presented with the FQPL 2 Champions Trophy that night. And we all know what's happened since then. I actually thought that they probably, being at home, get over Magic in the semi, but not to be. I think form had a lot to do with that. Obviously, Magic's form has been outstanding in the second half of the year, and Broadbeach weren't able to get over the top of them on Saturday. And I was actually hoping you'd have Brett here tonight. I had a few questions for him before Saturday, so I'm disappointed I missed out on that opportunity.
I've only got time for one person from each side. Otherwise, it'd be a 5-hour show.
No, I know there was a little bit in their build-up last week on social media in relation to dogs coincidentally being walked around Broadbeach's training session last week from Magic coaching staff. So we were on the lookout for anyone walking dogs around Willawong yesterday, but if they were, they made themselves very scarce. We didn't see them.
Right. No, they just hide on the grassy knoll, wouldn't they?
There's a few grassy knolls out that way.
So how do you see the game going, mate?
Yeah, look, Magic have had the better of us this season. Like you said earlier, we've had a good year, and obviously Broadbeach got a lot of the accolades, and we pretty much sat in second for the most part. But Magic rolled us twice in the league and knocked us out of the Australia Cup as well. So and then we did have a game in pre-season which we did get over the top of them on, but in the league and then the cup game they were a bit too strong for us. So yeah, we're hoping to reverse that trend on Saturday.
Yeah, good stuff. Promotion next season. You got your plans in motion already?
Yeah, look, obviously, I mean, as soon as it sort of happens, you start obviously putting some things in place, but the finals have been a bit of a distraction. We had a week off before the finals commenced as well. So we'll get through Saturday and then nurse some hangovers on Sunday, one way or the other, and then look at sitting down with the club and our players and figuring out where to and how we prepare for QPR1.
Yeah, good stuff. All right, thank you very much for that, Danny. Anthony Costa, it's time to get you back as the coach of North Lakes United. The game preceding the game against with St George Willawong up against Magic is North Lakes United up against Ipswich Knights. You've had a pretty good year, Anthony. New club, no worries.
Yeah, it's been a really good year. Obviously, the club merged, or the Lakes merged with North Lakes Mustangs, and a lot of changes. It's a big club, nearly 1,500 members, over 1,100 juniors. But it's a really good club. They've got a lot of ambition, but they also want to be sustainable with their growth. And part of that ambition was they wanted to try and turn around the women's program a little bit. Obviously, the last 2 years haven't been great at the Lakes, where I think they've only won one game in 2 years. So we were actually supposed to be in QPL 3, and then with East withdrawing from QPL 3, they gave us a lifeline. So we kind of managed to stay up, but we've had a good enough year, and obviously got promoted to QPL 1 and won the premiership, and thankfully we're in the grand final this weekend.
How have you gone against Knights this season?
Yeah, they're the only team that's beaten us this year. We played them twice. They beat us 3-2, and then we beat them 2-0 a couple of weeks ago. So, it's definitely not a guaranteed win, that's for sure. They're a good side, and every game they cause us a lot of trouble. So we have to be at our best. Otherwise, we are well aware what the outcome could be.
Yeah, for sure. Given the structure of the leagues now, you've been involved in women's football for a very long time. How do you see the model now? You think they've got it right?
Look, I think they just got to leave it alone for a little bit. I think that's the problem. Hasn't necessarily been right or wrong per se. I think it's just been every year it keeps getting changed. So then different clubs have to restructure, and we know that there's not as big of a talent pool in women's football as there are, say, men, just purely because of numbers. And when you see, we saw 2 clubs just in QPL 2 this year pull out, a club in QPL 1 women's pull out. I hope if we can keep it as is, there'll be the sustainability and allow clubs to continue to grow their game, because I think the World Cup's showing that women's football is massive in this country, but also around the world. And I think clubs are now looking to invest in women's football. And I think we just got to leave the competition as is for a little bit and let clubs develop their own programs and develop their players and bring more players into the game.
Have you had plenty of inquiries since the World Cup with people wanting to play?
Yeah. I don't know the exact numbers, but our social media guy saying that we're probably getting 20 plus people a week contact the club. Not all of them are women, but he said some weeks the majority of them are girls or even women. I've had a couple of people say, email me that they haven't played the game since they were 14 years old. They're now mid-20s and they just want to come back and have a run because they've missed a game. So I'm really excited for girls and women's football going forward, because I'm hoping the World Cup is just that little leg up. The game's needed.
I'm guessing that's going to be a familiar theme around with everyone at all the clubs. I mean, even us at SEQFC, we get messages all the time from people wanting to find a club, and the amount of, I haven't played for 10 years, I want to play again. It's just been a common thing. Yeah.
Yeah, it's great. And I think it's what women's football, women's football has been doing pretty well, but hopefully there's that change needed, that societal change as well, where they actually start understanding that, women's football is good, and we need to stop comparing it to men's football because it's strong in its own right, and they need to be appreciated as such.
Yep. The first game on Saturday is the FQPL 3 Metro Women, Sanford Rangers up against Springfield United. Now, ordinarily, I'd say Sanford are a shoo-in for this, but Springfield have caused them a few issues this year. This could be a bit closer than we think.
I haven't watched much of QPL 3. Obviously, those games and QPL 2 games aren't live streamed. So when they're not live streamed, it's, I just don't have the time to get out to those games. But looking at team lists, I know a couple of players at Springfield who are very strong players, and obviously Sanford have had a really good year as well. So I'd probably say maybe Sanford if I had to put my money somewhere, but I'm just having a guess with that one, to be honest.
Just say yes, it's going to be close.
It's going to be a good game. It's going to be worth a $12 entry fee.
Just quick. I know we've got a number of people to get through. Have you heard anything next year for FQPL in relation to increasing the number of clubs that are in the competition? Because there are only 8 this season, and to me, that's not enough.
I haven't heard anything. It is something that I did inquire about in pre-season, because I do believe that QPL 1 probably should be a 10-team comp personally.
Yeah.
And I know there was talk about that, well, rumours about that probably at the end of probably halfway through last season. So I thought that this year they might have just said maybe top 2 in QPL 2 just get automatic promotion, but they still went ahead with the playoff as well.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see what happens. But look, I do think that, you look at the quality of MPL this year, I think it is quite a good competition. And I do think that QPL 2 this year has surprised me a little bit, coming from a QPL 1 club. The competition in QPL 2, there are some really good players and some good teams and coaches in that competition. And I do think now with the growth of women's football, there is enough quality to make QPL 1 a 10-team comp.
Yeah.
All right,
Congrats
Lliam,
to Knights too as well for the promotion. So even though the Pride women went down, it's good to have an Ipswich club still there in the top competition. So well done to them.
Well, we've got you there, Lliam. The other match at Imperial Court Stadium on Saturday, 9th of September, is the FQPL 3 Metro Men. Bayside United up against Virginia. Make an informed opinion on who's going to win, Lliam.
Virginia. Why not? Let's see them back up again. Oh no, they go up. Let's see them get into a final, and they've had a few downs through the leagues through the last couple of years. So it'd be good to see them get a result.
Good stuff. All right, I'll stick with Bayside on that one. All right, so let's have a look. I'll quickly just mention the Darling Downs. They've already run their competitions. Congratulations to Willowburn FQPL 3 Men. They had a win. And Highfields broke Willowburn's clean sweep chances in the women. Highfields gold, taking out the FQPL 3 women's competition. Shout out to the Warwick Wolves winning the Division 1 men as well. All right. Now, we covered all the competitions. What have I missed?
Probably FQPLW 1. Yeah. No.
I haven't seen anything advertised for that. What's happening in that league, Lliam?
Well, let me get the trusty iPad up. Well, basically, yeah, it's first of all there was a playoff with Western Pride and Ipswich Knights there last week. Unfortunately, Western Pride couldn't get a result there as a Pride supporter myself. It was sad to see them go down. They've battled all year, so a real shout out to them. But good on Ipswich Knights. It's good to see that club got some serious might behind their women's program, and they're already advertising again for next season. So as an Ipswich guy, it's good to see. And as I said before, good to see a club in a higher competition. So the semi-finals are City and Virginia and Thunder and Broadbeach. So City will probably take care of Virginia quite easily. But Thunder and Broadbeach will be an interesting game. Now, I know Broadbeach, they've had a few losses coming to the back end of the season. So I'd probably fancy Thunder with that. So I'm predicting a Thunder City grand final for that one.
Good stuff. All right. Now, there was a moment there when I said, what else? What haven't we discussed? That was when Sean Grady from Kangaroo Rovers, Josh McKee from Carina was supposed to go, hey, what about us?
We'll leave it up to you, mate.
So on Sunday, we've got 3 grand finals. We've got Raza, who we had on 2 weeks ago, up against Logan Roos, who we had last week. We've had Aldridge on the show before, but Sean Grady from QPR, we haven't had you guys on this season. So tell us how you're going to win the grand final this weekend, mate.
Oh, if the boys play anything like they did last week against Yeronga, I think we'll be fine.
Yeah, that's an amazing result, getting over Yeronga Eagles.
To be fair, we've had the wood over them all season. The 2 previous matchups that we'd had with them at our ground 1-1 and at their ground 2-2, we'd taken the lead both times. So they'd never actually been in front of us in the 3 games that we played. And we left our scoring to the last few minutes just to make sure that they couldn't get in front of us. And that's the way we do it.
All right. So you've got a good record against Yeronga. How's your record against Aldridge?
Not as good. 2-2 draw away in their ground, and then 3-2 loss at home with an own goal in injury time, which was not very pleasing. But again, I think we've got the form, we've got the ability, and I think the boys will turn up on the day and put in a performance. We've got one lad who's looking at retiring. And then we've got another lad heading overseas for a couple of years on a work contract. So the boys are definitely up for it from what I saw last night at training. And I think it'll be a good match.
And how are the players going to cope with this beautiful flat surface that
Believe it or not, we'll be all right because there's no piney bobble at the moment. So we've actually been playing on a flat surface at Raymond Park.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah. So we had the pitch relayed. It was last season. So we pretty much trained at Annerley for 6 months, and then came back and started playing at Raymond Park in about July. And then the pitch has been well looked after since. We've got new irrigation put in. It's looking a little bit dry at the moment, but there's still a good amount of grass on it, and there's some more work to be done in the off season. So pitch is looking good. Playing on flat pitch always helps. Anywhere's better than Barden, that's for sure. So, I think we'll be fine out at Spencer Park. No worries at all.
Shot fired. Good stuff. All right, Sean, best of luck in that game. And finally, Josh McKee, Carina.
See it. How are we?
Good. You've snuck into the grand final up against Brisbane Knights. So this is going to be a difficult one for you.
Yeah, you could say so. I suppose they beat us comprehensively at home. And then in the return fixture, it was very tight and we conceded in the last minute of the game. So there's definitely a result there for us if we work hard. There's no doubt about it. We've got a strong back end to the season and a good performance against Springfield over the weekend in a 3-0 win. So the boys are ready to roll, and a little bit of ammunition to use. So it'll be good.
You've got TC and Stenner as the coaching duo this season.
Mm-hmm.
How have they gone? You've been happy with how they've turned things around there? You've got to be right.
Definitely. From a club side of things, obviously we had a bit of a transition period, as you know, when Lliam left, and we had to coach him for a year, and we had some mixed results. And then the boys, obviously, in a way, were green to the environment, but when you're green in one area, you're more often not in another. So they brought with them expertise in other areas and a player network and a passion that sort of could compromise each other area. So between them and Liam Safe, assistant coach, or 23's coach, and then support staff, and Satoma and I, we've created a pretty positive and fun environment where we've got a squad of 46 boys who are all training and are loving life at the moment. So, and to have 23s in the grand final, and top team in the final, I think it's a testament to the collective growth we've had as a squad.
Tell us a story, Josh. What were some of these green moments that they've had?
The boys are fine. Nothing too good. Obviously, like any coach coming into a new environment, there's things to learn. Nothing juicy, but just good. Sort of, you build character and you've got to learn in those things. As a club, if you're not prepared to, it's not even a risk, but take a different approach to something, you're never going to improve. You've got to sort of push the boundaries a little bit. So that's what we did. And if you want to call it a risk, call it a risk. But it was the best risk we've taken in years. So calculated, fantastic decision, I guess.
And what's your take on Brisbane Knights this season? They've been pretty phenomenal.
Yeah, I think they've definitely been good. There's no doubt that when you throw that sort of a budget around, if you don't come first and win the league by that sort of points, you've made a mistake, in my opinion. So to compete how we've competed, and even Springfield on the other hand, obviously they had a nice budget too, but nowhere near what Knights were doing. So even Springfield have done well to stay as close to it as they did. So we knew we were in a different race. But to be fair, bar some silly points dropped and some points from Football Queensland that go missing every now and again, as we all know. We're in the race anyway, so we've got ourselves to blame for not finishing as strong as we could. But that's good momentum for next year.
Yeah,
but we know we can beat them. As simple as that.
Good stuff. All right, best of luck on the weekend.
Perfect. Just as long as there's net clips on the goal, so we don't have what happened to Annalie, we'll be right.
All right. Now, I'll bring everyone into the conversation here. Craig, I'll just start with you. The grand finals down the coast, are you charging admission for those?
That's a good question. I actually don't know.
Have you bought your ticket yet?
Oh, I'm one of the lucky ones, mate, where the VIP entry.
So you're going to be okay.
All right.
There's been a bit of a brouhaha about this. Now, I'd like to see every game charge admission. Of course, with field configurations and grandstand configurations, that's not possible. But certainly for top teams, I'd like to see every match charge at admission. That's just my opinion. And we've got the culture out there where you can go to a ground for free and watch a game. Lliam, you get first dibs, and we'll throw it out to everyone.
Look, I probably really don't have a problem with charging admission to the finals. I have a problem with the same clubs getting the money all the time. I don't know where the money goes to. For example, I mean, City were asked to do. Obviously, they were asked to host. They said yes. So this is nothing against City at all. My thing is why is it always City that's asked? Why is it always Lions? Why is it always Stripe? Why is it always Perry Park? Why can't we take these games elsewhere? That would, like, I know there are other grounds where you could implement some sort of a fencing or something like that. So my issue is basically why is it always them? That's asked. Again, City were asked. They said yes. Not a problem with the club at all. My problem is why is it always the same clubs?
I would suggest to that the clubs actually apply to the bid to host the grand finals.
Yeah.
And that a place like Brisbane City, that, as we had David De Silva say on the show last week, their field is a carpet. To not play matches on that carpet would be a travesty.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Because obviously they had all the World Cup there as well. But again, my statement still stands: is that we need to go elsewhere. And like next season, let's look somewhere else other than the big clubs that seem to be always getting the money. They're the ones that always seem to be getting it. That's just the way that I see it. I mean, if other clubs ask, let's give other clubs a go at it.
There we go, Sean.
Doesn't it come down?
Grand final at Raymond Park next year.
Yeah. Hey, you imagine putting up a public fence around Raymond Park? We have enough trouble keeping them off the field as it is. Just to go to talk to Liam's point, I mean, it is a good and valid point, but I think part of the restriction is the fact that, don't these clubs that apply for the finals and particular requirements for grand finals don't have to have multiple change rooms and also have
fencing and all that sort of stuff in place so that it can be done like that. Back in Newcastle, when I was playing down there years and years ago, we used to charge for first team games, but it was only like $2 or something like that. But all the grounds that we played at were restricted access, so you could do it that way. Definitely couldn't do that at Raymond Park.
Yeah, no, I like it. Just they just seem to get. Oh no, it's all right. I made my point. I don't want to get myself in any more trouble.
It's a good way to get some money back into the game, that's for sure.
Yeah,
maybe one of these days the government will actually start giving us some money from the top down.
I do wonder if the fields that the Football Queensland have taken over at Gnjidic, if that's been done with a view to hosting grand finals in future years.
Good point.
Yes, that's a good point, Darren. Well done. What do you reckon,
point,
Anthony?
Darren.
Was that me, mate?
Yes, that was you. What's your
look.
on this topic?
Look, I know some of my players aren't overly happy about the entry fee. One of them, has been vocal on the SEQ community page, but I 100% see where they're coming from. Look, it's great to put money back in the game, but QPL2 women, for example, we haven't, it's been free all year. Now all of a sudden, they've got people whose family and friends want to go watch a game, and they've got to now pay entry fee just to watch their friend play. Initially when Football Queensland put the post up, it was kids were $6, and then after we kind of pointed out saying, well, why is one of our players' 2-year-old's daughter having to pay $6? They then changed it to 0 to 4-year-olds are free. Look, if the money went to these clubs that put the time and effort in, I wouldn't mind it. But I've also been told that Brisbane City won't see a cent of it. They get their bar and canteen takings. All the profits go straight back into Football Queensland. I know last year someone asked and they said it's for security, but I don't think that security is that big of an issue, especially for, QPL2 women. So look, for NPL, maybe QPL1, maybe. I think QPL2 and below, I don't know if you need to be charging entry fee, but that's just my thought.
When you're 70k in the red from hiring out Suncorp Stadium, you've got to find a way to make ends meet.
Yeah, I was just thinking similar, Josh. If they took some money out of the CEO's salary from a few years ago, maybe they'd pay for it that way.
Oh yes. Look, I'm not sure whether or not the playoff finals, whether or not those games were decided whether they're going to play at the start of the season. I don't know how early that they make those decisions, but I think I made a point on our group chat the other day, Darren, that the two Ipswich teams had to go to the north side of Brisbane to have their playoffs. Why? I understand there has to be a neutral ground, but why couldn't it have been at Springfield or Ripley or at Sutton Park with the Bulls or somewhere? Why did it have to be the north side of Brisbane?
Did it have to be a neutral ground though? Can't the team with the better record?
Oh, I got. Well, yeah, but
host.
Maybe, but as for the argument of having a neutral ground, I got no problem with that. But there's 3 or 4 places that they could have played that at Ipswich, and that way they probably could have had more people there turn up and watch the playoff between two local rivals.
Yeah. Hey, Danny, are you a bit miffed that you're playing your game on Sunday and you don't get to play at Suncorp?
No, I think one thing FQ have made clear this year, they've really sort of disseminated NPL and QPL1, at least in the men's side, as the professional competitions, if you like, where this players' point system applies, and obviously the Kappa Pro series applied to that. So yeah, I think QPL2, you're in I suppose the top of the pile as far as the community side of things goes, even though it's, because everything's FQPL now as opposed to what it was a couple of years ago. So look, no, I think that I get the idea that they're trying to make these, like quite eventful and gala-based days where, there's a lot of games on. And look, they are long days, and obviously I think whoever's showing up for the 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock kickoffs probably isn't going to be there for the 7 and 8 o'clock kickoffs. If we're all quite honest, there might be a couple of tragics out there, and taking nothing away from them, but yeah, I'm not sure that anyone sees and sits out the 3 or 4 games that are on. But look, I get the premise behind it. Where the money goes, we could sort of speculate and question all those sorts of things. I don't have a problem with some, a nominal entry fee being charged for these sorts of things. I think, as Sean said, in Victoria, it's much the same. Clubs down the pyramid, if they've got a facility, they charge. And football in Victoria, the governing body sets a limit for what the second tier can charge and what the third tier can charge, and so on. So there's a cap on all those sorts of things. But yeah, it's commonplace, and I appreciate football culture in Brisbane's a little bit different, and in Queensland, and I get that it's obviously now looking to change that to some degree by starting to charge with some of these more premium type games.
Brad, are you still there? He might have left us. I know Claude's still there. Claude, what's your opinion on this?
I think for much the same as NPL and FQPL 1 level, probably okay. Anything lower than that, I'm just not sure, particularly if as Anthony was saying about the FQPL 2 women. It's a bit tough when, to get parents and friends and to go pay for a game to watch them play a grand final. So I understand all that, but I guess, yeah, it's a difficult one. And I think they've changed with the 23 finals as well now, don't they? They're all played on neutral grounds as well now, even the Rezzies. Is that right?
I don't know.
Because I just saw a couple advertised, and I always thought that, back 3 or 4 years ago, the 23s or the Rezzies, they were played at the team that had the finished higher in the table. And I thought that was always good for the club to have a Rezzies grand final, and certainly for the top teams. So I think they've changed that as well. Is that right, Josh? Where are the
well, I was waiting for us to be scheduled at the same time as our top team, to be fair. But we're on Saturday night at Olympic, which I'm not complaining about.
Yeah.
So I'll have some Euros on Saturday and some pizza on Sunday.
Right. Okay. But I think in years gone by, it was always at the club that
definitely.
table, which was always a good night.
Definitely.
It was always good.
But why not do home and away series, like finals or semi-finals? Why not do that if that play more games? I don't know if that's worth exploring for them. Home and away games, home teams away games.
I still feel like our big gala day each year, like our big money maker day, should be third versus third last in each league. That's your big gala day as a promo relegation battle. Imagine having 4 back-to-back promotion relegation games at a nominated ground with a crowd, with paid entry. That's, in my opinion, that's where you capitalise on the narrative and the cost and all that sort of stuff. And you let like FQPL 4, FQPL 3, you can call it what you want. It's community football, really, in the grand scheme of things. Like, it's not much more than that. So that's not a commercial product. It might be seen by others as a commercial product. That's not a commercial product. Create a commercial product and sell a commercial product. That's what I think.
Okay.
There we go. Josh McKee from Vito Sports there. Oh, dear. All right, guys.
No comment.
We might end the show there. Don't forget that we've got 2 polls happening on our page at the moment. There's the referee of the year. Jim Boss is leading that poll. What's going on? Get out there and vote, guys.
Hey, to be fair, he's probably been messaging every club going, send votes to me. Isn't he on holiday or something at the moment?
53% of the vote.
Tell you what.
Sounds about right.
231 votes. That's some campaigning there, Jim.
Just remember during the week, Darren, I was saying about how the canteen of the year was St. Cat's.
Yes.
And the amount of people that were added in by one admin from St. Cat's, the amount of approvals we had to do And the question we ask is name a football club within Southeast Queensland, and it was all St. Cat's, St. Cat's, St. Cat's, St. Cat's. So someone's certainly been doing the they've certainly been getting the numbers up there.
Definitely. And we've also got the groundskeeper of the season poll as well. That's a little harder one to pick because it's definitely an uneven playing field this season with the amount of funding.
No pun intended.
Yes, exactly. Some funds allocated to some clubs are council run. Very difficult to judge that. But if you played on a great field, why not give them a vote? All right. And next week, we commence our Photo of the Year competition, which is always a favourite on our page. So look forward to that. Thank you to the thousands of guests that we had this evening. The end is nigh, guys. We've only got a couple of weeks to go. Can't wait till the break. Has everyone got their holidays planned?
Yep. We're away next week.
Good stuff. And I'm sure there's some clubs that will be running away this weekend. Anyway, enjoy it. Enjoy the finals. Get out to a game. Pay those admission fees. My name is Darren. This is the Village Law SEQFC preview show. We will see you next week.